So I wanted to give you a quick example of like
Okay.
what I've started to look at, but we'll come back to. So the company MetLife, the insurance company,
Yeah.
they have 13 board seats. One of
Okay.
those board seats is occupied by management. That's the CEO. Okay.
Sure.
That leaves 12 board seats that are hypothetically, quote unquote, independent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 12 people that to fill. Now you can vote out the CEO because this is not like a dual class company. It's not a controlled company. This is a company that if you as a shareholder wanted to vote the CEO out of the board, you could. You could do that. But that rarely ever happens. So we're just going to
And
say
they
that
won't listen anyway. Yeah.
they have 12 open seats, okay?
Okay.
Now you are their boss. You hire and fire those 12 open seats. You hypothetically fire the 13, but we'll just say the 12. Now, out of the 12 independent quote unquote board members, those board members are also on average, 2.3 other boards. So effectively, every one of those 12 people is also doing two other jobs. So let me ask you something as a shareholder and the board's boss. If you had three jobs, if Damian Rollis had
Yeah.
three jobs right now,
Yeah.
which
Trying to
we
imagine.
eventually are going to have to get because there's not
Oh,
nearly enough people who are
thank God.
listening to our show.
Yeah. Thank
So
God minimum wage is
please
going up.
share
Yeah.
our show for the
Mm-hmm.
love of everything. If you are if you are their boss, are you okay with them working three jobs?
Hell no.
Should they be working one job?
Well, I think you're leaving something out too, because I would say that the far majority of U.S. board members have primary jobs to begin with,
I'm not even counting those. I am
and then
just
they have
looking at
additional board
boards.
jobs, right? So this is like they have two other board jobs and this board job and another job. No, I mean it's ridiculous.
It's
No.
ridiculous. So I'm starting to look at it, if anyone's over the age of retirement,
Hmm.
those are probably more purely board positions that they have. But if you're under 66 years old in the United States, and I'm only looking at US companies here, if you're under 66 years old and you've got like 4 board seats, you definitely have a day job. You almost definitely
Yeah,
have one.
definitely.
So what I did, and to explain why this matters, right? Because you could
Mhm.
be like outraged, like, how dare you have 3 jobs? But what I did to explain, at least touch on why this matters, and we'll come back to all of this over time. I actually looked at something called controversies. Basically, it's like bad corporate behavior. Okay. This is when companies, you read about them doing something really terrible in the news. That news gets captured by all sorts of data providers. You can actually just count how many stories get captured, and I can adjust it so that, like, because big companies are in the news all the time and little companies aren't. So you just kind of adjust
Mhm.
it and say, all right, well, relative to their size, how many controversies do companies have? It turns out, and this is why you might care about how many jobs your board members have, how interconnected they are, how entrenched they are, and how difficult it is to understand these interrelationships, and how maybe you should be voting if you're voting. And I don't care if you vote, but this is the cost of the voting. It turns out the more chummy, the more board seats that these people have, the more interconnected they end up being, the
Mhm.
more controversies their companies tend to have.